Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Holistic Witch's Cottage. This is Melissa, and I am the Holistic Witch, and I think my voice is sounding a little bit wonky this morning. That's weird. So I am joined today by Momo the Wonder Dog, who's been feeling a little under the weather, so you may hear a little bit of Momo neediness in the background. So the last two podcasts have been yoga and time breaks, and now we're going to just move on to a regular recap. And then the topic of today's podcast will mostly be energy protection, because if you're like me, if you walk in the witchy world, the empath world, the light worker world, sometimes energy, other people's energy, political energy, community energy may not vibe with your own energy, and sometimes we need to revisit our skill set to protect our personal energy, do a little self-care, and keep our vibrations high. So that will be the majority of today's podcast. But let me start out by saying it's been a weird, wacky, convoluted week for me. So last weekend, hubby and I, along with the great Momo the Wonder Dog, packed up our trailer, loaded the kayaks on it, and hauled them up to the lake where we pay for slips for them to stay. I guess they have to be removed at the end of October. It's still a little cold to go out on the water, but we had an 88 degree day yesterday, and so if the weather continues like that, it won't be long until we can safely go out on the water. But the forecast also says snow on Sunday, so who knows. But we took the ride up. It's about a good 40 minutes from the cottage, and we took the kayaks. And last year when we first did this, we were slow. It took us like an hour and a half to get this job done. This year, super fast, super speedy. We are getting much better at this. So I think my coffee pot stopped making weird noises. That's cool. If you hear weird noises in the background, it's either truck traffic going down the big hill or my coffee pot doing whatever. I don't know. Okay, so we took the kayaks up. We got them safely attached to their posts that we lock them to. And we took Momo for a nice walk at that boat launch. And then we went to the other side of the lake to what they call the Muskrat area, which is basically the beach area. There are 2 playgrounds, and there's some walking trails and a disc golf course and some cool stuff up there. So we just decided to let Momo walk around a bit and enjoy nature. Now, it was somewhere around 58 to 60 degrees, a windy day. So, we didn't stay out too long because Momo, my bald little Chinese crested, refuses to wear clothes. He has an entire bin of beautiful clothes for multiple weather conditions. He has a beautiful Realtree coat and a beautiful vinyl raincoat. Once upon a time, I posted that picture a lot of Momo in a hurricane in his bright yellow vinyl. But today, no. On that day, no clothes for Momo. So we were carrying him around wrapped up in blankets because he's such a precious little baby. What do you think about that? Do you know Mommy's saying not so nice stuff about you on the podcast? Well, we had a fun day, and then we stopped at a local for that area ice cream place called Knowles Drive-In. I think it's been open for over 75 years. It's a family business. And we got Momo a pup cup, and we got some little dishes of soft serve ice cream, which was nice and fun, and then we returned home. And, I've had to cut the grass 2 times already, so that's yucky. And, just trying to adapt and get ready for spring, watching which perennials and herbs are coming up, what needs to be moved, what needs to be removed, and those kind of kitchen witchy, green witchy things that we do. So Kiddo had a doctor's appointment with a new doctor in the big city, which that's always, yuck. And then, I am a country girl. I'm not a fan of the big city. When I lived in the cities, I got accustomed to it, but I'd prefer not to, if that's my choice. But on the way back, we stopped at a favorite library they're having a huge book sale. So a little pitch, a little pop for the Bellwood Area Public Library. I explained to the ladies there the little situation we had in my local library that Kiddo and I volunteer at and do some work for. And they graciously donated us I filled the trunk of my Subaru Outback with free books and gave them a donation. So that was cool. So, I can't think of a much better week than being out on the lake and then spending a couple hours playing with books in a bookstore. That's kind of awesome and fun for us. Doing the library book sale thing. That's a fun thing for us. So I think that's the majority of the recap, other than I've just been spending more and more time out on Mooney, my Mooncool electric trike. I bumped into a lady who, didn't literally bump into her. My Mooney was parked. But she's looking for one, so I let her try it out, and that was cool. So it was like a growing community of electric bike and electric trike users. And I think that's cool, and I love building community and joining with community wherever I can. So then let's talk about I would call that the very high vibration parts of the week. Now let's talk about the medium to low vibration parts of the week, which gets into our energy protection topic. I think we all in our professional and community lives sometimes have to engage in activities and meetings with people that maybe don't vibe where we vibe, and that's okay because everybody's different. I was actually called a witchy snob this week, which I think is funny because I don't know, whatever. I don't think I am at all. But this was a non-witchy meetup, but somebody there is aware of what I do here and what I do in the community, in the witch community. And it's just, we all vibe, and we vibe differently. We have different interests. We have different priorities. And sometimes we all have to bend and flex when working with other people for the better good. I think that's a nice way to put it. Sometimes I definitely have to lower my energy to vibe where they are for the better good. And I'm not always great at that. And sometimes I feel absolutely depleted after situations like that, especially if I am under attack, if I feel like I'm under attack, or in this case, I was publicly under attack, and it wasn't a one-on-one, it was a group setting with an audience, which, gives other people, rouse up their energy. They like that. They like that. Performance art part of it, I guess. And me, I'd rather not do the performance art. I'd rather vibe at a personal level with someone, and how can we work together to promote the greatest good. And I guess I'm not the only person who probably has been unsuccessful with that. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can't meet that vibe. So that's just where we're at. So I have a little list here, just so I don't remember. That's exactly what will happen, my friends. I won't remember. A little list here to keep me on track. So, energy protection. So, if you're going out into the big bad world and you know you're going into a situation that may be unpleasant, here are some things that you can do to protect your personal energy and help yourself to stay strong and high vibing. Visualization and shielding. And I think this is commonly referred to on some groups and pages as bubble shielding. There's other ways to do it. I'm a fan of the bubble shield. Imagining yourself surrounded by a bubble of protective light, and some people like to assign colors to that bubble shield. Maybe white for general protection, maybe blue for healing, green for growth, yellow for joy, platinum or silver for extra protection, mirrors for reflecting negative energy back to the source from whence it came. Some like to surround their bubble shields with gold or magenta or, that deep royal purple to connect with the divine. However you do it is cool. If you've never done it, here's a quick tutorial. Bring your palms together, rub them together until they are warm, and imagine you have a bubble of energy between your palms. Gently spread your palms further and further apart to grow that bubble, and then just wrap it around your body. That's one way to do it. There are others. There's entire books written about this topic, so if you're interested in more information, you can always search that and find more material. I sometimes forget to visualize bubble shields. Other people like to use hedges of protection. It sometimes vibes more with the Christian demographic, not only, but I hear that out there. That's when you visualize a thorny hedge around yourself to protect other people from coming into your space. Sometimes that works. Some people are more architectural, more linear, building visual buildings, fences. Someone told me they visualize a wall of snakes around themselves, a wall of poison ivy, whatever works for you, my friends, is what you should do. So that is one way you can protect yourself, to visualize and pull up some energy to protect yourself. Others are shielding. You can think it more of a weapon type shield. If you need to block someone's energy, you can put your palm up, visualize a great golden, silver, platinum, or sometimes green, like emerald green, shield in your hand that is blocking, deflecting, and reflecting that negativity back to you. I'm also a fan of pagan veiling. That's where people literally wear hats or scarves or some type of cover, a hoodie, to protect your crown chakra. I used to scarf around my neck to protect my throat chakra. I think I may need to start doing that more. Hopefully I'll remember to talk talk more about that when we get to the crystal thing, what happened to me with the broken crystals. I think sometimes I need to protect my throat chakra more from people who want to send psychic attacks towards me, whether they're consciously doing it or they're unconsciously or subconsciously doing it, because I do get dream attacks sometimes. So maybe I need to start doing the turtleneck thing again, or wearing the for a while I was wearing like the choker necklaces. If you're a crochet or fiber artist, natural fibers are nice. You can make like a choker, maybe put crystals or beads or whatever vibes with you to protect that throat chakra. I may feel the need to do that again. Also shield around my property and around my home and my vehicles, my kiddo, my Momo, and I think it's time to amp that up again. So again, however you do that is cool. We can talk about it more in future podcasts. Next topic is grounding. If you feel like you are absorbing too much negativity, sometimes just going outside in nature helps. If it's a workplace issue and you can, sometimes having plants in your workspace can help. I've got the Himalayan salt lamp at home. I'm actually thinking about moving a mini salt lamp or a mini selenite tower into my workspace. I carry stuff in my bag, but I think I might need to boost it a little bit. Just, cutesy decor. It looks like cutesy decor to people who don't know. Some ways to ground can be simply going outside in nature, touching a tree, hugging a tree, gardening, working with the dirt, touching or looking at some beautiful flowers, walking outdoors. I know some of us have to stay on paths and streets, but if you can get onto grass and safely go barefoot or walk in the sand, that can be very grounding and energizing. You can imagine roots traveling through the bottoms of your feet down into the earth to release all that negative energy and absorb positive energy from the earth. So that's a few things you can do. The next topic is setting boundaries. This can be spiritual, this can be mystical, and this can be mundane. Sometimes you just need to be aware of where to set those boundaries and then mentally enforce them. Some people consider like freezer spells and jar spells as spiritual or mystical boundaries. I'm not a big fan of that type of thing. I think those can backfire, but they're popular with a lot of people, so if it's your thing, that's cool. Sometimes it's simply knowing when to avoid a situation or a person or perhaps even a place. There are some restaurants, some business locations I don't go into anymore just because the vibe is bad and it's unpleasant, and I don't have any reason to need to be there in some of those places, because that would be like an elective place to go. I'm not talking about the medical center, like where I have to take my child now. It is not my favorite medical establishment to go to, although they're very friendly and efficient. Just the vibe just isn't my vibe. So, but that's one of those things that is necessary, and that's why we use other tools to get through those situations. But there was a restaurant we used to go to all the time. We loved it. And then the owner was having some financial problems. He put it up for sale, and it's changed hands a few times since then. We liked it. We frequented that place for a long time. And then One of the owners just changed everything. The food wasn't so good. The vibe wasn't so good. It was rushed. It was mean. Things were getting kind of dirty and messy, and it was time to step away from that. That's elective. I mean, like, there's other places we can go and get a cup of coffee. There's other places we can go and have a light lunch. And so we can choose to set a boundary to not walk into establishments that just don't make us feel good. Here's an example. Many years ago, everyone I knew was telling me to go to this very trendy spot. We were in the area. We went. The vibe was so bad. My kiddo physically got ill in the building. So, maybe that vibe resonated for some people, but it didn't for us. Other people raved about the food. I wouldn't have given the scraps to Momo. It was not our vibe, not our tribe. And it's okay to choose to stay away from places like that. Now, sometimes we have to have verbal boundaries. I had to set one this week, and I hope I was professional about it, but sometimes we have to set a verbal boundary. Sometimes we have to set a physical boundary. Sometimes a mental boundary. We have to remind ourselves this isn't our vibe, this isn't our tribe. We're only there for a moment, and it'll be okay. And sometimes you may need to do more than that. You may need to put up a no trespassing sign at your home, or, whatever physical, tangible version of that to keep yourself safe. And that's okay. It's okay to protect yourself and care for yourself. So let's talk a little bit about mindfulness, the next topic. Of course, those of you that follow me on Yoga and Time know I'm trained in yoga and mindfulness, meditation, and Reiki. All those things. In mindfulness, sometimes we just have to ponder, what are the things that are triggering me that are hurting or affecting my energy in a negative way? I think it's good to be mindful of those things that affect our energy in a positive way as well. And what can we do once we identify those triggers? Where can we choose not to engage, and where do we choose to want to engage more? And this is where things get tricky, because I find that sometimes the people or places that I don't want to engage with might be attracted to my energy, or those people might find joy in interacting with me in a negative fashion, because, again, I kind of call it performance art. And sometimes those things can be tricky. And if you're not familiar with shadow work, that's a really big topic that books and volumes have been written about. But if you're finding that you're triggered a lot, maybe looking into some shadow work. What are your triggers? Why are those things triggering you? And how can you move on? How can you move on from those triggers? How can you grow or learn to disengage or avoid those triggers? Those can be some important skills. Now, in mindfulness and energy protection, again, back to the shielding, and we'll get more into this a little bit in the next topic with energy clearing. But, in my case, maybe yoga is a good way for me to disengage from triggers. Maybe it's certain foods or certain teas or herbs. Maybe Tai Chi walking, or all these other wonderful forms of exercise. Maybe just going out in nature and walking your dog like I did over the weekend. Maybe these are ways to tune into mindfulness, tune into self-care, and protect your things and protect yourself. So I find sometimes I do have to protect my things too. There's been a little vandalism going on. It's okay to know what your triggers are, and it's okay to avoid them if you can, when you can. So let's talk about energy clearing or energy cleansing. Some of the listed, suggested methods that I read on a list included mantras that can be just a word that means something to you. I am calm, I am at peace. What word do I want to use? Another content creator by the name of Teresa Micheletti that I follow, and sometimes she follows me back. She has a mantra I like. I am of God. I am with God. I am of God. Connecting to the divine to protect you from lower vibrations. That's one I like. I am peace. I am peaceful. I am at peace. I am calm. I am seeking calm. Maybe it's one word. Maybe it's connected to your religion or spirituality of choice. Maybe it's just reminding yourself, I am okay. I am safe. I am okay. I am grounded. Now then there's the mantras like Om and different vocalizations that some people enjoy, and then they pair that with a mudra, which is like a hand symbol. There are many ways to do it, and again, volumes and books and videos and movies and documentaries about all of them. So that's always stuff you can look into more. Cleansing, one of my favorites is just to shower or bathe with Epsom salt to pull toxins from my body. I also like to work with, I can't think of the word, it's the clay. Oh gosh, I can't think of the word right now. It's like the black clay. I like to put it on the bottom of my feet. Can't think of the word right now. How'd that happen? I like to put it on the bottoms of my feet, sometimes on my pulse points, sometimes on my throat chakra, to pull toxins out of my body. I am a teacher and practitioner of Yin Yoga, which is a particular style of yoga which stretches the connective tissue so your body can release toxins that are stored there. And those can be toxins that are created by emotional negativity. These are all ways to help cleanse your body, clear your body from negative energy. Reiki can help. When I say that word, Momo always jumps up because we do Reiki on the dog. Reiki can help. I practice pendulum clearing as well. Different forms of clearing the chakras through yoga, or different types of postures or activity. There are many ways to do it, whatever works for you. I like to use certain teas. I've been doing hibiscus at bedtime now, and that's been helping, and it gives me really calming dreams, which is a good thing for me. There are detox methods that you can purchase in stores. I mean, there's like pharmaceutical detoxes, some are herbal, some may be chemical. There are things available if you feel that you need them. So let's move into crystals. I know a lot of the people that follow me are big crystal people. I generally wear hematite or tourmaline. I like to do the bracelet thing. My husband wears the rings. Kiddo wears pendants or earrings. We usually choose something to help block negativity with a crystal. vibration. I like to keep something in my purse or bag, and I think I'm going to start carrying something too when I wear like a granny fanny pack when I'm on the Moon Cool. I have a nice basket on it, but I like to wear something around my waist for my asthma inhaler in case I need it. And I might start carrying a little packet of tourmaline or hematite or whatever I choose to be a little boost with negative situations. I love riding on the trails on Mooney, but I've encountered a little negativity out there. There's some road hogs. There's some guys on the big electric bikes that really in the real world would be called motorcycles. And sometimes they get their jollies by harassing women on the trail. So I might start carrying something when I ride. But I usually wear something blue for my throat chakra. I pair a few different types of crystals. I like those stretchy bracelets. And I noticed that my blue one, it's a combination of sodalite and lapis lazuli. And I've been having trouble with a particular person. And I discovered that every time I had an interaction with this person, one of the beads on my blue bracelet was cracking or breaking, or I started finding little pieces of them, like on my floor or in the workplace. And I'm going to have to get a new one to replace that. I cleansed it and recharged it and got it at a vibration I like. But clearly, there's an attack happening against my communication, my throat chakra. That deals with honesty and communications. And I know, the other empaths out there, when you're being lied to, folks. You know when somebody's being untruthful with you. And my bracelet was taking some hits for that. And I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't surprise me, because I know that's going on, and the crystals are taking the vibrational hit on that. So that's something you can wear in the workplace, in many workplaces, unless there's a no jewelry rule. Or, there's the ladies who wear the crystals in their bra. I don't do that. Once you get older and a little bustier, like Miss Melissa, sometimes the crystal in the bra thing, not so comfortable. But, there's other ways to do it, unless there's a no jewelry rule. Or you can keep it in your bag or in your drawer, or whatever you need to do. But crystals can help. The next topic is intentionality. That's a mindfulness technique for me. You set an intention. I am very goal-oriented. Sometimes this bothers people. I'm a horrible networker. I network pretty well with other people in our tribe online, but I'm not so great at networking with people outside of my vibe and my tribe. That situation came this week. My son, kiddo, became physically ill, being in proximity with people who were at the opposite side of the tribe. I try to stay away from politics on here, but I'm just going to say it. A lot of groups are going anti-MAGA. We were in a position this week where there was a lot of pro-MAGA. We were sort of being bullied by pro-MAGA, and sometimes we need to set intentionality about what our goals are and not caving on our goals, and that can be uncomfortable, and that's the main reason why we're talking about this topic this week. It is okay to mentally, spiritually, emotionally disengage, physically disengage when you can. As a Gnostic Christian, one of the tricks I learned a long time ago depending on who or what you consider your spiritual divine. One of my tricks, because I do have a feminine divine in my Trinity, is to connect with her and ask her to help me disengage emotionally. I'm a Star Trek geek. If you like to pair it to Vulcans on Star Trek, a race of peoples that many of them learn to disengage from emotion and operate on pure logic. Sometimes I pray for disengagement from my emotions so I can come from a place of pure logic, and that, quite honestly, pisses some people off. Because they want me to engage emotionally. They want me to be victimized by their attack. And if I go into pure logic, it's just annoying for them. So that is one trick that I do. But again, whatever your own faith system, whatever your own spiritual system is, it may look different for you. And whatever works for you is awesome. So I am on the last topic on my list, self-care and high vibration. For me, riding out in the wind in nature on Mooney, going at a fast speed for Mooney, my Mooncool electric trike, is a really cool way for me to connect for high vibration. I enjoy that. I pick safe places to do that. Whatever your thing is, that's fine. Some people like candle gazing. Some people like aromatherapy. I love the outdoors. I like to go fast in a kayak. Sometimes I like to go right in to, like, the waves start coming towards you. I like to go right into them, right up that wave and crest over. I love the vibration of that. And then sometimes I get a little seasick afterwards. But I love the vibration of physical speed. Not necessarily in a car or a vehicle like that, but on a bike, on a kayak, something like that. Running, walking fast, skipping, trotting. When I was a kid, we grew up in a neighborhood that had a lot of horses. We weren't allowed to have them, but the kids in the neighborhood, we used to pretend to be horses, and we used to trot. Not so much skip, but trot. We used to trot around the neighborhood. We used to trot in the forest. And sometimes when I'm really feeling negative, I just trot around my house, or I trot around my yard, and my neighbor laughs at me. But sometimes when the vibration doesn't feel right, that act of physical trotting, which is, a skip is more like a step hop, and a trot, how do you describe a trot? I don't know. I don't know how to describe a trot. It's just a trot. Watch a horse do it and then try to copy it. It's cool. There was a lady who was pushing a lot of that. She had a name for it. She had a lot of followers on YouTube. She was trotting around or prancing. Oh, I think her deal was prancing. She was a prancer, and she had a prancing exercise video, and that was kind of cool too. And if that was her method of boosting her vibration, that's absolutely cool. So I think that kind of glosses over the topic. Again, any of these topics I could probably do a full podcast on. People write full books on them. You can always research these topics and look up more if you're struggling. So I hope that was a little bit helpful. But the big thing is, like, in our community and in the light worker, witchy, higher vibe community, maybe, we have each other too. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to me if you just need a little boost, because some people have been boosting me this week, and that's been helpful. So that's been cool. Humor, laughter can boost the vibe too. Music, dancing, whatever your thing is, my friends. I am not an athlete, but I like to play disc golf. We tried in the winter. I was wearing this big parka, so I sucked. My throw sucked. But, I'd love to get back out there and do more of that. Whatever boosts your vibe, and your vibe attracts your tribe. And when you need to interact with people that are way outside your vibe, it's good to know that there are tools and techniques to help keep you in a safe vibrational level. So I think I'll leave it at that. Preview for next week. I am working on a big Earth Day event at my local library. For anybody who's still listening, prayers, positive vibes to get some kids, get some people to attend that. I would appreciate it so much. And I will talk about that more next week. I haven't done a yoga in time video in a while just because I kind of moved over to the podcast. Some people prefer that venue. I might take one more week off. Or maybe I'll do like an Earth Day video. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe I could do that at the event too. That could be cool. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I wish you many blessings on your journey. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze, so I'm gonna let you go. Many blessings. Bye-bye. And yes, I did sneeze. That's what the pause was for. Momo and Miss Melissa say, have an awesome week. Vibe high, my friends. Vibe high. Well, you could even dance to this music. Clap. Bye-bye.